Hey everybody, getting ready for the show. Sending out the text message. Then we're gonna go. Hello, Denise, Liar, Rami, Liar again. Thanks for being here. There we go. Text message going out to the world. Well, probably only about half of our list. Kind of like how only 1/5 of our email list gets our emails. Only 1/2 of our followers see our posts. This is the life of a deplorable malcontent on the internet. All right, everybody. Oh, looks like we have some supply drops landing in mailboxes. Liar Bliss says, yes, I got the t-shirt. Very cool. You know what? Just because I got you here for a second. Remember, especially the past couple months where producership has been a little hit or miss. We understand it's the holidays, not a whole lot of expendable income. Value for value is really the first. I mean, what's the first thing to go off the budget? The thing you can get for free, right? Makes total sense. And we're happy that people can help feed their families by not sending it to us. That's always nice. But in these cases, remember, it is the supply droppers keeping us alive. Of course, all monthly people are keeping us alive, but the supply droppers, just know that every episode represents $2.77 of your 3333 support. So we appreciate it very much. In the times when support is low, you supply droppers keeping us going for $2.77 a piece per episode. If anybody wants to join the supply drop, now is a wonderful time to do it. Pop that link into the chat there if anybody's interested. And we appreciate it very much. Okay, let's get this show on the road, baby.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. We are live to tape on December 16th, 2022. This is episode 572, and today, Non-fungible Trump. And razzle dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil.
And my name is Gonz, formerly of the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, aka the Cabana Boy, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena. Basil, we are really seeing the rise of techno-conservatism. You know, governments, technologies, fun. Social changes, upheaval. I mean, it's all sort of taking place right in front of us. The reset is unfolding, and, you know, people are just kind of not realizing it, but...
Do we need to have the talk about emergent phenomenons again, Gonz?
What's wrong with my emergent phenomenon?
It's supposed to be a quip, one quick little word, one little quippy quip, and then the listener discovers the meaning of the phenomenon throughout the episode. Yeah, it's like a little mystery. It's like a game.
Sure, you can have some instructions on there. It doesn't have to be one word, does it? We're wasting time.
does.
Tell us.
That is literally what we built it for. That's okay. Yes, I am also a crypto conservative in that my computer is
but
still
crypto too,
exploded. Yeah,
yes,
techno conservative. Sure. So I'm still on the sort of half weird Frankenstein rig right now, but I did. We're in the process of getting that sucker back up and running. Because of that, I still didn't write down the disclaimer. So here's a disclaimer. Hey, don't listen to anything we say, YouTube. You're not allowed to watch this video. We don't spread disinformation, misinformation, or malinformation. Your algorithms are wrong. Don't cancel our channel.
Please.
Disclaimed. Consider yourself disclaimed.
Okay.
Oh, no, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Yep, we're starting out. You heard about it. Non-fungible Trump. We'll be talking about Trump's big announcement. Then checking in on Flippy. Again, a conglomeration of topics that people thought we were silly conspiracy theorists for talking about, but the robot arms, they know we've been right all along. Then big shifts, glacial shifts, continental, seismic shifts in the movement of corporate power, as well as, well, the other side figuring out what it feels like to be laid off right before Christmas. Some big things happening in the corporate world. We'll be checking in very quickly to Ukraine and Russia, just with an update or two. Then in the second half of the show, some puzzling things happened during the lockdowns that they are not able to account for. What does this mean for climate change? What does this mean for flatulence? Then apparently, the COVID vaccine is protecting us from more than being social outcasts. There is some very interesting science coming out of Canada about some extra protection coming from the COVID vaccine. Then, at the end of the show, Florida woman, watch out. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
We will launch a new age. I am innocent. They're coming after me.
Is this a crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
Blockchain.
It's come full circle, Basil.
Yes.
Donald Trump has announced his digital trading cards, his NFTs. We have the promo video here. Would you like to hear or see some of it before we
Yes,
talk
I would
about
love. Is this his announcement? His big announcement?
Yeah, it's his announcement.
Okay, good. Yes, I'm glad you're playing. Yes, let's go.
Hello, everyone. This is Donald Trump. Hopefully your favorite president of all time, better than Lincoln, better than Washington, with an important announcement to make. I'm doing my first official Donald J. Trump NFT collection right here and right now. They're called Trump Digital Trading Cards. These cards feature some of the really incredible artwork pertaining to my life and my career. It's been very exciting. You can collect your Trump digital cards just like a baseball card or other collectibles. Here's one of the best parts. Each card comes with an automatic chance to win amazing prizes like dinner with me. I don't know if that's an amazing prize, but it's what we have.
It's what we have.
You and a group of your friends at one of my beautiful golf courses, and they are beautiful. I'm also doing Zoom calls, a one-on-one meeting, autographing memorabilia, and so much more. We're doing a lot. My official Trump digital trading cards are $99, which doesn't sound like very much for what you're getting. Buy one and you will join a very exclusive community. It's my community, and I think it's something you're going to like, and you're going to like it a lot. They also make perfect gifts. So you can buy them with your credit card or crypto.
Perfect.
All you need is an email address. Go to collecttrumpcards.com and buy your Trump digital trading cards right now before they are all gone, and they will be gone. This is my first official Trump trading card NFT collection, and you get a chance to meet me. Go to collecttrumpcards.com right now, and remember, Christmas is coming, and this makes a great Christmas gift.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
Those are laser beams coming out of Donald Trump's eyes as he
Yes.
pulls his suit open for his ripped abs, superhero tee.
For those who are just listening,
you're missing a lot.
How would you describe the art of these Trump NFTs?
Looks like somebody threw some AI stuff in to a little algo with some Trump images and came up with some pieces where he's in a space suit. There's one where he's in a Santa hat. Where was it? Oh, I went too far.
Eloquence and brevity. I appreciate this. Yeah, it's really incredible. Really an incredible collection of art, these NFTs. I couldn't tell. My first thought was AI too, and it's the only thing that really makes any sense because they're really strange. You get the feeling that they were not composed by a human. Because they really have this vibe. This is the vibe I get. It's. What about this? Is this what you want? Is this what you want from me? You want Trump in an astronaut outfit? What do you want me? I'm a cowboy now. You want to be a cowboy?
Yeah, it's like his little fantasy wardrobe. And he said it was his history, his accomplishments.
I'm a Texas Ranger, but I'm Trump.
You guys speak into the mic. We're podcasting there, pal.
I know. I'm scared. It blasts out my levels over here if I don't speak into the mic.
Okay. Well, I need to
so I yell in the. Were you not hearing that?
It was hard to hear you. I was losing you a little bit. I don't know about the audience out there, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay, are we good?
All right,
okay.
Let's go.
All right. Well, part of this, I thought it was a gimmick at first. I didn't even know it was real. I had to kind of dig in a little bit to make sure that it was real. And one of the things that he mentions in the little ad there is, all you need is an email address. You can pay for it in crypto or whatever. Which led me to think
that doesn't quite sound right.
right.
With the NFT thing, there's some technical issues with just using your email to get an NFT.
Yes, because that means there's a layer in between your NFT and the actual blockchain, or I guess you and the blockchain or the NFT itself. I'll explain it here.
It means you're not actually going to have custody of your NFTs.
Yeah.
So you're. Well, it's almost like you're paying for Donald Trump to hold on to a baseball card for you.
It is an option to use your own wallet, so that I did realize that. But this actually is an opportunity to do a quick, I guess, like a little rundown, education, whatever you want to call it, because this is onboarding a lot of people to Web3. Web3, people have been talking about Web2 and Web3. And I made this little mind map that I will show in a second here. For those of you watching, for those listening, I will explain the best I can. Basically, it's just kind of a little chart that shows the flow of Web 2, of how we currently access the internet, which is the people, that's you and I. We have a smartphone or a computer or something. We open an application within that, usually a browser, or there's other apps like PayPal or whatever. Then you go to a website, usually with the browser, and then you log in, right? And you have a username, password. That's kind of where the centralization happens. The company gets to be the gatekeepers of who accesses the website, and then you have access to your data or your money or whatever it is. The difference in Web3, and if you understand this, you're 90% of the way to understanding the big difference with Web3. So Web3, you have the people, that's you and I. We have a smartphone or a computer. The first thing we do is access a crypto wallet. It acts as kind of an interface. And that's where you hold your private keys, which is basically, that's otherwise known as a seed phrase or secret phrase. It's where your keys to access the blockchain where your assets are. That's where it happens. It's not a browser or anything. It's just a little wallet that you can access. Now, there's separate parts to that. There's a login, and to the wallet is separate from the actual private keys. But from within the wallet, I'm doing this as simple as I can. It is a little complicated, but from the wallet, from inside that application, that's when you open a browser and access websites. And what you do is you connect the wallet to the website. Now, this is where a lot of scams can happen. You can get in trouble there, but that's how you access the market and everything else. So it's more of a switcheroo in how to get to the internet. And so if you go to the Trump website where you're looking at the NFTs and whatnot, you have an option to link up your wallet to the website itself, and then you can buy one. Now, one of the things that is interesting is that there's a place, the biggest market for NFTs is called OpenSea. And if you go there, the Trump NFTs are number one, Basil. They're trending. Number one. 13, of course they are. 1,328 Ethereum volume in the first 24 hours. What is that about? Let's see. On the rough estimate, about $1.5 million there. And that's the interesting thing about it is we can all see how much this NFT project is generating, how much economic exchange is taking place. And the price of each of these things has gone up already. So if you bought one for 99 cents, you can turn it around and sell it for, I think, like double the price right now.
$99.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the smart contract where this is built on, you can see everything. Now, this particular NFT was built on a chain called Polygon, and you'll probably hear a lot about Polygon because Polygon has some partnerships with big people: Reddit, Disney, Adidas, Starbucks, Meta, Adobe. I mean, they have the biggest partnerships. You're going to be hearing a lot about Polygon, which is kind of a layer 2 to Ethereum. And that's where the NFTs were minted. And so you can see here, for those of you watching, we're at Polygon Scan, and you can see 45,000 Trump cards. There's 14,831 addresses, which means those are individual wallets that hold Trump cards. So obviously some people have more than one. And you can see the contract. It's all code. I'm not a coder. I don't understand all the code. I've done some coding classes and whatever, but you can see all the code. It's all open source. And it's a change in how things occur, commerce and assets and that kind of thing happens. And so while everybody is sort of making fun of Trump, and it is kind of a gimmick and it's pretty ridiculous, and if you look under the hood, you can see that it's not really him. He kind of but he licensed his image.
Basically licensed. Right. Yeah, he basically licensed himself, and he gets a cut.
He gets a cut. So that's the other thing that you can see is that if you go into one of these NFTs on OpenSea, there's a whole section for details, and it says here, for those of you watching, there's a creator fee, and it says 10%. So anytime the NFT changes hands on the market, the creator gets 10%. And that's kind of how it does revolutionize artists and musicians, and because before you had these big conglomerates that were kind of controlling your content. If you're a musician or something with a record label or an artist through a gallery or whatever it is, but now you can just do it directly with NFTs. So that's kind of the revolutionary aspect of it. But it comes at the heels. He did this. Everyone's freaking out about it. Grabs everyone's attention. Kind of clever because he did do the free speech reform thing the same day. Some people think he did that because the NFT thing was such a mess, but I think this was strategic in showing kind of the direction of how things are going to operate moving forward, the Web3 aspect, because I think by doing this, he is onboarding a bunch of people into Web3 that otherwise wouldn't have, or at least curious about it.
Right. So, as boomers, there's a reason now for boomers to get into NFTs. It makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is one of the interesting sort of societal benefits to what he's doing, or I don't know if it's a benefit or not, but one of the bigger ideas is, boomers never would really get into NFTs. I mean, some do, but it's certainly not common. So, that's one thing is you have not even just age demographics, but geography demographics, you know, like Midwest, South, generally not like coastal tech people, who are into NFTs and crypto and everything, but it will be onboarding. Now, here's a big, dangerous, scary part of it is in in all of this sort of thing, there's a lot of opportunity to take advantage of someone who doesn't really know how it works.
Yeah, gonna be a lot of scams.
Trump doesn't really have the best track record when it comes to scamming unsuspecting people. I'm just talking about like Trump University, some known shady things that he's done in the past. I mean, even what he's doing right now for fundraising for the Republican Party, it's one of the reasons why the red wave didn't happen, is that he was scooping up all the Republican funding and wasn't sharing it with anybody.
Yeah.
Because he was building his presidential war chest. So arguably, some analysts could say that, Republicans would have done better in the midterms if Trump hadn't sort of been such a black hole for funding.
Yeah.
Now, so there's that. So you got a bunch of people who have not been into NFTs before who suddenly will be interested.
Yeah.
But that just kind of means a bunch of new marks.
Well, it's gonna create
that. It additionally means there's a bunch of new marks.
Well,
whether they're
going to create
for Trump, who knows?
Yeah, they're going to create. It's going to create the scam market, the Trump NFT scam market, either derivatives or making fun of Trump, or just straight up scams. Because what happens, is people that don't get it, they might get an email and say, "Oh, you got to check your wallet to make sure that and it's in the process of connecting your
Phishing
wallet to the
scams,
website,
stuff like
that.
If
you connect your wallet to a scamming website, thinking that it's a legit website, then all your NFTs will be drained and you will lose them all. So
now I thought the way he did this was kind of genius. I'm going to make a big announcement. Which is kind of funny because this obviously was kind of a silly announcement. But,
how dare you? Revolutionary, Basil. 1,700 days since the Q post.
Yeah. So last time he said, I'm going to make a huge announcement is when he said when he announced his presidential candidacy. So, you're kind of like, oh, what's the next big announcement? NFTs. Okay. That wasn't quite what I was expecting, but even the PR, like his script that he was reading there, talking about it as baseball cards and stuff like that.
Very simplified.
Yeah. Very careful language. Also, because this is a weird time to be getting into NFTs. This is a very strange time to be starting a career in NFTs and cryptocurrency, bottom of the market, NFT apocalypse, this kind of stuff.
I actually think it's quite clever because he can, the people that buy these NFTs, the value is going to go up. And so it can kind of be a measuring stick of, look at people that bought the NFTs, everyone's rich now, that kind of thing. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's possible, but we all know how that goes.
Yeah.
But also very clever. He did not mention that aspect of it at all. He didn't mention, how you can hold on to it and make money or blah, blah, blah. He's simply like, here's a trading card. I'm your favorite president. I'm better than Lincoln. I'm better than Washington.
Straight up.
Here's me in a cowboy hat. Come and get it.
Yeah.
Is this what you want?
So part of the free speech thing that he announced is interesting as well. We don't have to go through the details, but ban federal agencies from colluding to censor American citizens, ban taxpayer dollars from being used to label speech as mis or disinformation. I think that's a positive thing, I guess, for if he can do it. Fire every federal bureaucrat who is engaged in domestic censorship. He is sort of riding the coattails of Elon right now and the teardown of Twitter. He's sort of, I don't know. I wonder if he's regretting doing the whole Truth Social thing, because I don't know if he was fully on board with that or if that was just because he got censored. But in any case,
so it's all a little disingenuous in my book because the surveillance state under Trump experienced quite a sort of resurgence and momentum. The momentum of the surveillance state under Trump, sometimes explicitly at the behest of Trump, was very concerning. So
yeah, and that's one thing that when you go to the Trump website, if you're gonna you try to buy these things, you connect a wallet. One of the major wallets that you can connect to, or you can't anymore because it's sold out. But it's MetaMask, and MetaMask it's all tied in with the big banks. And MetaMask announced a few weeks ago that they are going to track every IP address of every transaction in every MetaMask wallet. That doesn't mean they can control your assets, but it means they're tracking it. So that's I think Ethereum has very much been compromised in that sense. Centralized government.
You mentioned agencies. Yeah, you mentioned Truth Social, which you can also talk about Parler. How this was basically, and we said it when Parler came out. This is basically putting yourself on a government registry of Trump supporters. And I kind of see that with the Trump NFT thing as well. When you purchase an NFT, or at least your wallet identity or whatever, is connected to that object forever. So whoever bought or buys a Trump NFT, whoever they sell it to, whoever they whatever. And remember, the way that it's set up is every time it's sold, it kicks value back to the original wallet. So there's a record of every single sale of that thing. It is each NFT is basically its own database of Trump supporters. But you might not think that that's a big deal. But imagine a world where the government decides that if you funded a certain
NFT project,
a certain insurrectionist terrorist group in any way that you be put on a list. Well, every single one of these NFTs, every time it's sold, not even just the first time, every subsequent time that it's sold, is putting that person on a list. It's kicking money back to Trump. And so in theory, if there was a law or an executive order or something that whoever, funded the Trump organization, funded a terrorist, insurrectionist, anti-democratic, white supremacist, domestic terrorist group, and then when's the other time we saw that? The truckers in Canada. This is not unprecedented. Saw this happen. So in theory, anybody who touches one of these Trump NFTs could, in theory, in some hyper awful fascistic, neoliberal future, could have ties to funding a terrorist organization or something. And that's pretty intense.
This is going to set precedent as well, because just recently, I think was it the SEC or maybe it was another government institution, did some pretty heavy shutting down of Tornado Cash, which is this mixer. It's basically a place where you send your crypto and then it gets kind of mixed in, so all the tracking you can still kind of track it, but it makes it way harder.
It's a money laundering operation.
It's a money laundering op, and so what they started doing once they shut them down, technically, was whoever these bad actors started sending from the wallets that were compromised, that were on the government list, started spraying Ethereum to all these other influencer wallets and public wallets, so that now all those people under the government umbrella are like, oh, you guys are part of this money laundering scheme too. And it's bad. It's bad. So yes, it's the double-edged sword of blockchain.
But there is precedent. Yeah. So there you go. This is fun. Go get your Trump NFTs. He's a genius. He's a tech entrepreneur, savvy young man. Go check it out. This NFT thing is, I'm hearing, not going to be a big problem at all. And with that, Gons, it's the end of the week, baby.
It's Friday.
There you go. We can keep playing with the Friday thing.
You gonna learn today?
Cause it's Friday. You ain't got no job. And you ain't got shit.
Are you not entertained?
Hey, what day is it?
It's Friday. It's Friday.
It is Friday. Thank God. My goodness. And what's going on with you? Anything interesting?
Last day of school for the kindergartner today. Dropping her off. Oh. And, I noticed that everybody that was saying hello to my daughter, boys, like 5 of them. So I might have to take up on some of my some friends who have offered me to possess a firearm. Might have to go in that direction.
for the kindergarten boys.
Well, you never know. You know what I mean?
Cons, this is not the time to start threatening children.
I'm not threatening
gunfire.
children. It's not about threatening them. It's about protecting my daughter.
Uh-huh.
So there you go. Yeah. Good times.
Classic gun dad.
Gunzo. It's Gunzo, baby.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Guns out. Nothing new here. Still on the weird little Frankenstein rig for the podcast. I'm sure I sound a little different. I'm not in VR today, so I'm distracted by every little bug that flies by. I did get my computer over to my computer guy.
Yeah.
And there is a possibility, and this is very sad. It's just had a catastrophic failure on the computer, and then whatever I was doing to try to make it better was not making it better, and was indeed making it worse.
Yeah, you were the mRNA. You were the mRNA to the computer. You're trying. It was supposed to protect, but didn't do it.
Sure. Yeah. Safe and effective. I thought, but it's not. There is a possibility that I will have lost every single piece of work that I've done in the past 7 years, which is very bad and scary. He's going to try to recover some of it. And so to put that on the prayer list, everybody. Let's hit the producers on that one, I think.
Producers, assemble!
There we go. We're just praying that I can get back all the data.
all the
Fauci,
data.
Help me. Yeah. But I don't know. Staying optimistic here. But I should know more about that next week. Until then, I will still be on this rig. So get used to it, folks. And but the soonest I hear about it, we'll start building a new situation for me.
Yeah. How come you didn't have stuff backed up, or did the backup go down too?
The backup was on the thing. Yeah, I have multiple backups, but it's like it's all connected to the same system. And so, yes, there's just a system-wide catastrophic thing. I mean, we'll have whatever we have on the cloud, which is not nothing, but it's not great. It's not
people in the chat suggesting maybe sacrificing one of those bunnies to see if that'll do it.
Sacrificing it to what? To who?
To the computer.
To the computer? Let the computer eat the bunny?
Yes. Maybe it's hungry.
Yeah, blood sacrifice is not necessarily on my list of acceptable ways to handle the situation.
I'm just seeing with the chat.
Thank you for the suggestion, everybody. And with that, let's thank some executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. There's a lot of good reasons to not take corporate money, but we're moving on, and I'm going to let you use your imagination as to what all those good reasons could be. But because of this, we are entirely funded by listeners of the show, people who get value out of the show. And value for value dictates that if you get value, you put value back in. You can do that with your time, your talent, or your treasure. And executive producers are people who came in and supported the show in a very real, important way. And remember, all producers, but including especially the executives, they are the ones who are directly responsible for you getting the show for free. So make sure to thank them if you see them walking around downtown or whatever. Guns, as has been the pattern, end of the year here, production not necessarily the most exciting part of our day. People, we're in a recession. We got the holidays, not a whole lot of expendable income. And you know what? When you're trying to save money, what's the first thing you save money on? The stuff you can get for free. So it's totally understandable, and nobody should feel guilty for having to do that. But there's sometimes these days when it's not looking too good, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, as if prompted by the Holy Spirit, executive producers come in and support the show. And that's what happened today.
Hallelujah.
all of our producers make this show happen, even if they're not execs, but these executive producers warmed our hearts today. It almost brought a tear to my eye as they were coming in during the show just now, Gons. And let's thank them now. You ready?
Yep.
First executive producer is actually on an executive producer streak.
Do I have executive streak? I have it somewhere. I don't know if I...
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
there it is.
Take a second and get it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna name the person. And then you can play it. Here I go.
Okay.
Thank you to exec. God, you don't gotta talk through searching your files every time. Here we go. Executive producer Kevin M.
Kevin M.
Executive streak.
Two executive producerships in a row. Thank you, executive producer Kevin M. Champion comes in with a nice round number. When you come in with a nice round number, that tells us that you would prefer we do not disclose the amount on the show, so we are not doing that. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount, you just make it a funky number, add 33 cents or whatever. Next up, we have executive producer.
Thank you, Kevin M.
Where'd you find this?
Yeah.
Next up, we have executive producer T.
T. Like the letter T?
The letter T.
Wow.
Executive producer T comes in with a nice round number and a note that says, God bless, Merry Christmas, T. Smiley face.
Thanks, T. Appreciate it.
Where'd you find this?
Yes, we do.
I like the one-letter names.
Next up, we've got executive producer Felicia D.
Felicia D. Thank you, Felicia.
Yeah. Really appreciate it. Felicia D comes in as an exec fairly often.
Yeah.
And it's almost always in a moment of crisis. So appreciate that, Felicia D.
Where'd you find this?
Next up.
Thank you, Felicia.
Next up, we've got executive producer Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Pandas. Ooh. And he is on an 83 episode streak altogether.
Oh, yeah! Thank you so much.
Wow, streak and coming in as an executive this episode.
That's right. Wow. And his executive producership was for $333.33.
Illuminatus!
Oh my gosh, Sir Darren.
Illuminatus, I know. Thank you. Sir Darren has a note here. Value for value. I got a Christmas bonus for all my hard work. God bless you, Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Pandas. Yeah, where's all these Christmas bonuses? Now, thanks to Darren, we get a Christmas bonus. I love it.
Thank you, Sir Darren.
Where'd you find this?
Okay, and that concludes the current list of executive producers for episode 572. It's not too late to produce, though, folks. If you'd like to, you can head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. Do we thank you for your patronage here? It seems like we should.
Well, there's a lot of them, so yeah, sure.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. It's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there is nothing that we can do about it. Today's Flippy update, I am sad to announce, is from my one and only nemesis, and that is therobotreport.com. The headline reads, Motive Space Systems. NASA create robot arm that works in frigid temperatures.
Looks like the article.
I like how the headline says, NASA create robotic arm. Okay, we got a robot that works in cold temperatures. Whoop-de-doo. Tell me more. Covered in the deep craters and surrounded by steep mountains, the lunar South Pole. offers a range of extreme and volatile conditions. Here, the sun hovers just below or above the horizon. When it sits below the horizon, creating a lunar night that lasts for up to 14 Earth days, temperatures can drop to negative 267 degrees Fahrenheit. And when the sun is shining above the horizon, temperatures climb up to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. But even when the sun is heating the moon's south pole, permanently shadowed regions, such as in craters and in the shadows of its mountains that reach heights of over 9 kilometers, haven't seen any sunlight in billions of years. These areas can drop to temperature as low as negative 334 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, they didn't get the memo. They weren't supposed to round up.
I know, come on. These shadowed regions act as traps, oh no, to some of the moon's most volatile materials, such as water. So volatile. That would evaporate at the moon's highest temperatures, but remain frozen for billions of years in these crucial spots. Because of its extreme conditions, the moon's south pole has remained largely unexplored by space crews and with instruments sent to the moon. Typically, spacecraft that rely on energy-consuming heaters aren't able to stay warm in the extreme cold, making it nearly impossible for scientists to study these areas. So we have the moon's Antarctica.
Yeah.
Gonzo. You get
unexplored.
Look, we've been so focused on Earth Antarctica and what it means for us and our children, but we haven't even stopped to think what moon Antarctica has to do with anything whatsoever.
What if the moon is the inner Earth of the hollow Earth? It's just a hologram. You pop into the hollow Earth. You pop out at the south pole of the moon.
Trippy, man.
Give it to Chris Shilzilla. Do an episode on that. What if the moon was a hologram of the inner Earth? Continue.
Yeah, that sounds right. Bong thoughts.
Yeah, there you go.
How NASA hopes to explore these areas on the Artemis mission. And here's a quote. It's a mission that's a precursor to future astronaut missions and will be a precursor to future robotic missions because eventually there will be the delivery of robotic systems. Motive Space Systems Vice President of Business Development Tom McCarthy said. All right, let me skip down. Here we go. Listen to this. To access these crucial and frigid areas of the moon during the Artemis missions, NASA has been working with Motive Space Systems to develop a robotic arm, Flippy, capable of operating in these areas. The Cold Operable Lunar Deployable Arm, or Cold Arm. Cold Arm.
How much do these people get paid to come up with these names?
Cold Arm is all.
The
Cold Arm robotic arm system can
at
function
least it's
at
not a
temperatures
lukewarm arm.
as low as negative 280 degrees Fahrenheit without needing an internal heating system because it can use up to 30% of a mission's daily energy budget. Don't know what that has to do with anything, but okay. Well,
costs money, man.
Cold Arm is a recent technology development, so we're partnered with JPL and each of us brought technologies. Yes, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the Occult Center of NASA. Each of us brought technologies that have been developed for cryogenic operation, McCarthy said. JPL in particular had some actuation capabilities, and Motive had developed avionics that work, blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares. I quote, I think the primary difference is that Cold Arm, we have to be a little more flexible, McCarthy said. And then it goes into Mars Arm. It's, just Cold Arm. That's it, Gons. Cold Arm. It's an arm. It's Flippy. They got Flippy. They're taking him out of the fry cook position. They're slapping a goose down jacket on him, and they're sending him to space. Flippy in space, baby. That's what we're all about around here.
So, the company that had Jack Parsons, who was doing Aleister Crowley rituals in the desert, is now have a cold arm robot that will investigate the south pole of the moon. And great.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
And I think this is creating a situation where, cold arm Flippy will be sent up to the moon. He'll do his job, and then NASA will just leave him there like they do all of their robots. Cold, heartless NASA abandoning their robots
it's the
in
methodology.
faraway places.
Yeah, it's the methodology of our distribution of weapons and assets.
Yeah, but then I think Cold Arm will make friends with the tardigrades that crash landed on the moon from the Israeli thing. So you've got wormicorns and Flippy both on the moon. I think it's all coming together.
Oh, man. Yeah, for the people who have been listening for a long time.
I'm for the robots.
They know.
They know. So I'm telling you.
All right. Well, let's continue on.
Okay.
Why do we have no sound? Okay, hold on. I was supposed to play the politics jingle here. Let's try it again. We're going to move on.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood.
Politics.
PSYOPS.
Yeah. So, there's a theme developing. We've been hearing about the Great Reset and a lot of great restructuring, all kinds of great stuff. But I think we're actually in the thick of it right now. I have a few stories here that summarizes the move. And I mentioned techno-conservatism as the emerging phenomenon. And I think we'll get a grasp of that here. To kick it off, Wired.com published this headline here. Big tech laid off thousands. Here's who wants them. Ooh, so thousands of people getting laid off tech. Who wants them? Remote work, competitive salaries, a streamlined hiring process. They're all perks being offered to prospective tech workers from an unlikely employer. The U.S. government.
Don't know how unlikely that is, but okay.
Soaring Silicon Valley salaries, perks, and stocks have allowed big tech companies to lure the industry's top employees for years, while government jobs sat open. But as companies like Meta, Amazon, and Google have cut jobs or slowed hiring, government, nonprofit, and smaller companies are now seizing the moment and looking to catch the attention of out-of-work technologists. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is seeking tech workers to fill 1,000 roles. They'll work on solving problems like modernizing benefits software and revamping medical appointments scheduling. In parenthetical, quote, Silicon Valley isn't the only place for tech innovation, end quote. The Department of Information Technology office tweeted last month. Big tech's losses could be a boon to these employers. And we don't have to get into much more of the details in this one, but I think it's fascinating. If we're talking about an emerging technocracy, where do you get the best people to build the technocracy? The tech people, especially when there's a shrinkage. And I was thinking about China. Remember how China did that contraction of their tech giants, Jack Ma disappearing and all that kind of stuff? I wonder if that's what they did too, where they did something similar, where they squeeze the tech companies and then they just take all the people. Kind of like a modern day Project Paperclip, like you don't necessarily want to do it outright. You create the atmosphere to allow for the transition or brain drain of sorts.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. It's an interesting little digital New Deal or something too.
Yeah. Well, that's in connection with Trump's thing. Did I lose you?
How does that connect to Trump's thing?
Trump's digital, his whole. We touched on it earlier. He's got that whole. Digital, what was it called?
Free speech thing?
Yeah,
he had like free speech.
Yeah, the free speech
platform.
thing had a big digital component to it. Wasn't it named after it? Hold on, I'll find it. Keep going.
Well, no, I didn't have anything to say.
Oh, okay.
I was just saying,
I thought you had
kind of like after the Great Depression, there was the New Deal that built all our roads and, put people who couldn't find work anywhere. The government could come in. They could come dig ditches for the government. And, that's how we built all our highways and stuff and bounced back from the Great Depression.
Yeah.
It's similar there. I mean, we're obviously in economic turmoil with no end in sight, no matter how many times Biden's team tweets about it. Things are only expected to get worse. And big tech and big media, by the way, letting people, just slashing their employees, sometimes without notice. I mean, we'll get into it, but it's not just big tech, but big tech is a big part of it, but there's also Goldman Sachs. There's the banking sector. There's Washington Post announcing huge layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, huge layoffs across the board in what would seemingly be too big to fail industries. Too big to fail players in too big to fail industries are just having an apocalypse when it comes to employees getting laid off. So now, a great time. Now, remember, whether it's banking or the media or news or whatever, most of these people are of a certain, political persuasion. Mm-hmm. And it's a great opportunity for Biden to pack, whereas Trump is threatening to liquidate partisan people in the government who, are not supposed to be partisan. Biden is planning on packing the entire government with news people, big tech people, all the people getting laid off into new government programs, which is really disturbing because as we learned with the Twitter files, it was actually the employees mostly, not, I mean, the executives aren't innocent, but it was mostly the employees who were creating the atmosphere and doing the banning and, being loud
being
to
rah-rah.
get Trump kicked. Yeah, it was packing those companies filled with, woke employees that caused most of the trouble. And so Biden wants to scoop all of them up and pack them into the government, which is spooky considering, the current Democrat idea of free speech. Now they would actually have the army of liberal employees, tech employees, to pull it off.
So I found the article here. It's a CNN article with the headline is Trump unveils plans to take on tech companies if he wins 2024 and appeal to conservative base. And the main takeaway here is first off, he had in his thing, he said digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination, which I can agree with. Trump added that Congress should pass a, quote, digital Bill of Rights that would force government officials to get a court order before taking down online content and inform users if their content is being restricted or removed. So that's the whole NFT thing and the move to the attention on the digital aspect. It's almost like a declaration of saying, okay, the digital thing is real now. Like it's considered a real thing. And the battle for that legislatively is taking place now. And it's interesting because if all these people, especially of this political bent, are all moving into government, I mean, I don't see how if Trump wins, he would have to do like a full carve out. Like he would literally have to get rid of everybody, which is part of his deal to begin with, right?
Which he's already threatened to do.
Right.
I mean, that was the big, I forgot what it was called. It had some special name, but he had some big plan to slash partisans out of government departments, not necessarily elected people, but, IRS agents and environmental protections agents, officers, whatever, just the government workers, basically. He was going to, which is part of what makes up the deep state. The deep state is not just like lizard people. It's unelected lifetime career people in the government who act on a partisan basis, who are not supposed to, but nobody holds them to account. Packing the U.S. government's new, online speech monitoring board, or not even the board, the department, with a warehouse filled with government ex-Twitter employees. Like, you have a propaganda machine being built, the likes of which the world has never seen before.
Yeah. And that could be why the power shifting, and because the government power sort of has not ended is not the right word. It's shifting. It's changing. So we're seeing the drain from all these different big established institutions into government, or at least in terms of the recruiting. We don't know how many actually will. It's probably not that big of a number. But if you look at what the government is doing from within, you can already see that they're moving in that technological direction. This is Reuters.com. U.S. lawmakers want Buttigieg. Am I saying that right? Buttigieg?
No,
Buttigieg.
You never are.
Buttigieg. I don't know how to say his name.
I don't believe you. I think you're making a funny dad joke.
No.
It's Buttigieg, and it's always been Buttigieg. Okay.
Buttigieg. To speed deployment of connected vehicles. Have you heard about this? Connected vehicles, Basil.
Yes.
The Democratic chairman and the top Republican on the House of Representatives Transportation and Infrastructure Committee urged the Biden administration to take an active role in helping automakers deploy connected vehicle technology to avoid crashes. And so there you go. It's basically...
Yeah, this is interesting. This is cars talking to each other.
Yes.
And, you get on the highway, and then your car talks with everybody else's car, and then the highway kind of just drives itself.
Yeah. And I don't like what this does, though, because once, you get in a classic car or something, and you get on the road, and then everyone, oh, look at this guy with his 40s, whatever. I don't know.
Oh, no, that would be made illegal. No, you got to have an electric internet car. You can't have any cool cars.
Car on the blockchain, bro. If it's not on blockchain, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting that the government itself, again, the government is they're trying to be the next big tech company. I mean, we've already seen them act like a business or a corporation, but really, if we're moving into the digital era in that sense, then they have to become arbiters of policemen of the world of digital. So
right. And I think, the Elon thing fits into this. I don't know if it's because of Elon, but I think the Elon concept fits in because Elon, and this has been known forever, but suddenly it's cool now to write articles about it. But the thing is, with Elon, most of his money comes from the government. He has, he gets his carbon credits for the Teslas. He gets this. He gets the grants. He gets money for the space program. Most of Elon's operating budget is government money.
Yeah.
And, we've seen, especially from politicians and the operatives of the government, the civilian operatives of the government, which are media people, have been going into like, hey, why do we trust billionaires with our social media? Why do we trust billionaires with our technology? Why do we pay billionaires to go live lavish lifestyles and take all the credit for the taxpayer funding or whatever? And so, it's kind of a PR, it's like a marketing ploy to promote the idea that, we shouldn't let billionaires own Twitter. The government should own Twitter, so it's fair, which is entirely goofy. And in this case with Buttigieg, they're talking about cars. Why would the government give Elon grants and carbon credits because of his awesome Tesla technology? Why not just put that in the hands of the government? And the funny part is, that is strikingly similar to the problems with literal Soviet government style, where the government controls or the state is in control of manufacturing. So they're basically talking about moving into a socialist, like a true socialist economy, just using sort of capitalistic mechanisms to do it.
Right. Yeah. I think you're spot on there. And
speaking of the socialists, let's check in real quick.
Russia. fight for Ukraine. New world order.
Just a couple of things to mention here. Number one, there was the story from... What story is this from? This was from Wired.
Yeah.
The headline was GPS signals are being disrupted in Russian cities. So just real quick, every day billions of people use their GPS satellite system to find their way around the world, but GPS signals are vulnerable. Jamming and spoofing attacks can cripple something.
GPS connections entirely.
There it is. Yeah, it is really weird. On my article, the font changed size out of nowhere and lost my spot. GPS connections entirely or make something appear in the wrong location, causing disruption and safety issues. Just ask Russia. Ooh. New data analysis reveals that multiple major Russian cities appear to have faced widespread GPS disruption during the past week. The signal interference follows Ukraine launching long-range drones attacks deep into Russian territory. That is so concerning for so many reasons. And it may act as a way to potentially stop drones that rely on GPS for navigation. The GPS interference has, quote, expanded on a scale that hasn't been seen before, says Eric Kanika, a program manager at Estonian defense intelligence firm Census Q, who has been monitoring the situation. Quote, what we're seeing now, since about a week ago, is GPS jamming bubbles covering hundreds, if not thousands of kilometers around tactical cities.
Who's making these jamming bubbles?
Yeah, it is interesting. I don't know exactly even what the technology is about that, but there was talk about the GPS networks a couple months ago. The way I understand it, and I tried to look up the details on this to double check myself, but here we are. The way I understand it is that there's, of course, one sort of standardized major GPS network, and it's, of course, owned and operated by the United States. Mm-hmm. But it's sort of, everyone else in the world is sort of allowed to use it for whatever reason and through whatever deal or whatever, but China has been working on their own GPS network, and certain nation states can have GPS based on whatever satellites they have. It's just that we have the most satellites. We have the most comprehensive GPS network in the world.
How many satellites? Is it like 30,
it's
40
a ton.
satellites?
I know. I should have pulled it up. No, I mean, it's like hundreds or thousands. It's a very comprehensive network. And there was some discussion a while back that was concerning for Russia, because for a long, long time, they've just been using our GPS. They're just all under our GPS network. And there was talk about them leaving our GPS network and kind of joining up with China to try to build out theirs. So I don't, I'm going to have to return to this topic in the future, because I need to re-look up all these details. But, if indeed they are still on the U.S. network, it could easily just be a couple beeps and boops and causing these just from space, just from the inside the network. But that just wouldn't be fair, Gons.
Yeah, well, that is interesting. That's a lot of power to hold over a nation, to be the network that controls that communication system.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it's kind of like the UN and everything, where technically it's let's all get together and run this network, and it's a group effort. But really, it's just like the U.S. It has veto power over everything and does most of the work and pays for most of it and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it is, the real disturbing part about this is the deep strikes that Ukraine is taking into Russia, and they have been doing for a little bit. A little while now, but that's the kind of thing that puts us on the edge of World War III even more, which brings us to the express.co.uk article here. Headline, Putin readies second nuclear weapon this week amid chilling threats of London attack.
He's doing two in a week? Oh, man.
Yes, we're back to the nukes, man. He'd taken a while off, He hadn't made any nuclear threats in quite some time.
Yeah.
People were starting to think he had gone soft. But no, this week he's back on it. Russia has prepared one of its nuclear weapons for combat just a day after another one was readied. New footage shows a Yars strategic missile being placed in an underground shaft in a Russian military complex. It comes a day after another Yars missile was maneuvered into a silo on the same site. The Yars intercontinental ballistic missile is one of the most deadly weapons with a 7,500-mile range, meaning that it could hit the UK or US. In the video released by the Russian Defense Ministry, a huge missile is seen loaded into an underground shaft by the Kozelsky compound, around 160 miles southwest of Moscow. The footage shows the missile being carried on a Yars launch vehicle alongside a heavy military presence. Footage then shows the missile being lowered into the launch silo and tilted 90 degrees. It is widely seen as a form of nuclear showboating ahead of Russia's Strategic Missile Forces Day on Saturday. And then it goes on to some other stuff, but there you go. The missiles are ready, Gons. Watch out.
Well, I mean, I don't know that the Christian nation of Russia would use nukes, but apparently Ukraine is using witchcraft. Did you see this tweet from the Defense of Ukraine? The official Ukraine government account tweeted out. This was back on December 5th, so it's a couple weeks. But they said in this tweet, "Render unto God that which belongs to God, and unto the enemy that which is of the enemy. Beware, enemy, you'll get what the witch wants." Ukrainian volunteers dressed as witches, sending love to our soldiers and the opposite to our enemy. And then they have these pictures of these women, Ukrainian women, dressed as witches. They're holding these these swords, I don't know, amulet-looking swords. There's another one here.
Like cartoon witches, like
no,
pointy
like real.
hats
These are like a photographer's studio, doing some work. Another woman on a flying broom. Let's see. There's another one here. Oh, she's wearing purple, by the way, which of course is significant. There's one where a woman is holding a flame and she's kind of floating inside of a flaming circle. So there's that. And one more of a young lady in kind of like a lush garden-esque area with a big garden piece on her head, holding a skull with her left hand with the Z on it.
See, this is interesting. This is so funny. I find this very theatrical because it's insane for a government to be like making threats of witchcraft and then and all these, by the way, for those who are just listening and not watching, I mean, these are beautiful women. It's like hilarious, and is hilarious specifically because we know that Russia loves their beautiful women.
Right. It's like they're playing the same game, kind of using the
same way that Russia will post pictures of like models on their tanks, and it'll be like an official government photograph with like long-legged blondes with red lipstick posing on tanks.
Yeah.
They're kind of doing the same thing, except for being like our weapon is witchcraft.
Right.
But I find this so theatrical because of Putin's holy war. His whole thing is that, the Ukraine are devil worshippers. The West are devil worshippers. They're all witches and warlocks. And that's why we need to do what we're doing. And the Ukrainian government is just like, yeah, we are. Come and get us. Here's our beautiful babe witches. Come and get it, Russian soldiers. It is
very much.
It's almost too perfect.
I was gonna say it's like the whole thing is just one big play, and the actors within are delivering their lines. And hey, you guys are the occult people over here, and then the religious people over there, and you guys are fighting. And it's all represented in the left-right paradigm. We got the Republicans, and the conservatives versus the liberal.
We all want this war. You know, everybody wants this war. Russia wants the war. Ukraine wants the war because they've been getting billions and billions and billions of dollars that they would never have before. They're getting weapons that they're apparently selling to African warlords. And the U.S. wants it because of the military-industrial complex and the money laundering scheme that's included.
Man, we are
so nobody wants it to end.
We're just distributing all the weapons right now. We can't have this World War III unless everyone is armed. So, you know, we got to get the right kind of gear into the right hands. Yeah.
You know what I don't see are these witches holding any U.S. made, you know, machine guns or anything. They should have had these witches hanging out, you know, next to a Patriot missile that we just sent them.
Yeah, that'd be too obvious.
And
you got to
putting little witchy symbols on the missiles or something.
Yeah, it'd be maybe a little too obvious, you know. You gotta keep
think?
the Ukraine veneer, you know, the proxy going. You can't really just be so outright.
Sure. But, good point. All right. Well, speaking of,
yes.
Yes.
Yes, Basil. Speaking of what now?
I don't know. Speaking of billions of dollars, let's thank some producers.
Oh, good save. Party time. Go to canarycry.party. The real URL. You will find a tree of links to everything we do, everything we share, everything we play, all the ways to support us and connect with the community.
Yeah, go check it out. We got all sorts of stuff. Join the community, the Discord channel. You can find art and resources, as well as join our newsletter and text message alert system. All sorts of good stuff for you over there at canarycry.party. You know, it occurred to me once that jingle started.
Yeah.
In the context of Ukraine shutting down the church, the Orthodox Church, in Ukraine, shutting down Christianity altogether.
Right, we reported on a couple episodes ago.
And then posting witch pictures from the government.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. Hey, if you support Ukraine, I mean, apparently you're just basically saying you're a witch. Weird.
Something. I mean, I don't know exactly what it is, but just it's very illuminating when you think of it that way. All right, let's thank some producers.
Let's do it.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Yeah, we are on the value for value model. We take no corporate money whatsoever because corporate money has no place in independent media, unfortunately. I mean, why would you want independent media being held to the same standards that that corporate media is held to and funded by the same people? I mean, that's the whole point. The whole reason we're in this mess is because corporate money has infiltrated the mainstream media to such an irreversible degree. So instead of advertising or affiliate codes or whatever, we are entirely funded by people who get value out of this show. It's called the value for value system. It's a new way to think about keeping things in existence that bring value into your life. Sure, we could play ads and then we would be guilty of monetizing your attention and your trust and selling your brain space to corporations to keep the show going. But why would we do that if we could rely on people who get value from the show to understand that there is intrinsic value in not having your brain sold to corporations? There is a value in that alone. There's more, but I don't know. Listen to more episodes to hear more rants. We're going to thank some producers. Thanks, producers. They keep the show going with their time, their talent, or their treasure. There's lots of ways to produce the show, but we're going to thank some people who helped us out financially today.
Let's do it.
I do want to give a shout out to the supply droppers. The supply drop is landing in mailboxes as we speak. People are getting their calendars, their shirts. We've had so many people talk about how great the shirts are. They're comfortable, they're high quality, and people are enjoying the calendar, of course, as well. I think it's the best job that producers have ever done on the calendar. It's really incredible. Yeah. And for those days, like last episode, for those episodes where producership in sort of the straight up financial terms is dreary, I do want to mention that is exactly why we have the supply droppers. The supply droppers carry us through those moments. Now, just to be transparent, the supply droppers that's not all of it. Like it doesn't cover everything. But for episodes when there's no other producership, we love to remember that our supply droppers, every supply dropper is contributing $2.77 to each episode. That's what the math works out to. And so we're very appreciative, and we want our supply droppers to know that in those slow times, we're very grateful for your support. But we got a couple producers to thank here. Ready?
Let's do it.
Starting with producer Hannah G.
Hey, Hannah G. Good to see you. Thank you.
Hannah G comes in with 3333.
Illuminatus.
And Hannah G says, loving the supply drop. Thanks, guys. Best t-shirt ever.
Wow.
Yeah. Best t-shirt ever.
That's a bold claim, Hannah G.
I believe it. I believe it. They are super high quality shirts. And they were expensive, but we are happy to. That's the thing with the supply drop. We try our best, and we're getting better and better at it all the time, to actually make it like good stuff. Good stuff that you enjoy, not just like a Fruit of the Loom, scratchy, itchy thing that doesn't fit, but it has our logo. These are high quality t-shirts. And more about t-shirts. If you're interested in t-shirts, more about that soon. Just for fun, I'm dropping the supply drop link into the chat in case anybody is feeling inspired. Thank you, producer Hannah G.
Thank you, Hannah G.
Next up, we've got producer Brenton B.
Brenton B, thank you.
Yeah. And Brenton B came in for $20.53. Now, this was through the link tree, which does a bunch of weird stuff with fees. So I'm not exactly sure what the real number is, but came in with $20.53. Thank you, Brenton B. Says, don't forget the hot choco this winter. Yeah. That sounds pretty good right about now, actually.
It does. Have you had those hot cocoa things where it looks like a stick of like a candy stick or something like that, and you stick it in your hot water or milk, and then it melts and it turns into hot cocoa?
Never had them, but I'm aware of the concept.
Yeah.
I'm aware of the technology. Cocoa tech has come a long way.
Yeah. Those are good.
Thank you, Brenton B.
Thank you, Brenton B.
What is this? This is interesting. Looks like you added something.
I did.
Here, Gons.
Yes. This.
Okay. This is looks like too much of a name.
Yeah. We'll
go like this.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. This is producer Hava R.
Yes. Hava.
Thank you. Came in with a nice round number. Came in through the Rumble chat. It looks like, Gons.
Yeah.
Oh, was this a Rumble donation?
It was right through the Rumble chat. So we see you there.
I didn't even know we could do that on Rumble.
I didn't know either, but I see it. It came in. The Alaska 49 is there. Dick Nixon is there, and Havel.
I wonder if we should be keeping an eye on the Rockfin. I wonder if there's Rockfin producers that we have not been thanking. Anywho, thank you very much, Hava R.
Yeah, she's a note.
Oh, the Rumble chat said, no rant. Just wanted to show my appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love it. Short, sweet, and appreciated. Yeah. Thank you very much. Next up, Stephen C is in the house.
Steven C, maybe?
Sure, who knows? Coming in with 777. Thank you very much, Steven.
Steven!
We've got Sir Morv, Now to the Burning Chariots, 176 episodes in a row.
Hey, Sir Morv. Thank you, Sir
Next up, coming in with 1111. Next up, we got Sir Alex Protocol, Now to the Berean Protocol, pocket full of sevens, 112 episodes in a row.
Tweaker.
Oh, yeah! Man, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. LX Protocol.
Producer bot. Let's see. Just came in was producer Jessica L.
Hey, Jessica L. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica L. Producer Jessica L. That is. And that's it. I think that concludes the list of producers who came in the amount of 777 or more. We appreciate that. It entitles you to have a note read on the show if you wish. We've got some people who came in under the 777 cutoff, and we'll thank them now, starting with Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
207 episodes in a row, Dame Gale. Incredible. We have Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 243 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
We have Veronica D, 207 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Veronica D.
We have Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, 232.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
Let's. Did you see this one come in?
I did not.
I feel like I remember it, but I don't see it in front of me.
I saw this one come in on a different part of producership, but I don't know if it's
a different. Oh, well, okay, then it's probably there. We got Runk Smash, 26 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Runk Smash. This one, Runk Smash. It's this one.
This one is the Runk Smash. Yeah. I know. So we're trying to keep up with all of our different things now. It's not the easiest thing to do. Okay, I think that concludes our list of producers. Thank you all, guys, so much for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Moving along.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I forgot. You can give those people some streak things
that's right.
if you want.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay, hold on, just real quick. Sorry. Yeah, I can't believe we did it. We're on a roll. We're trying to move forward here. Yeah, distracted. Here we go.
Yeah.
Women rule.
That covers them.
There we go. Yeah, actually, and if you'd like to become a producer of the show, there's a couple ways you can do that. You can head on over to, if you want to get on the supply drop, you can go to canarycrysupply.com. But otherwise, you can head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
Let's continue on. Shall we?
Yes.
You're short on time.
I am short on time. I think I can make it through a few more, and then you can have a Gons party the rest of the show.
Oh boy.
I know.
COVID-19. 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 Coronavirus.
Vaccine, number one way.
Remember during the lockdowns when the skies were clear, the pollution had stopped, we got a glimpse of Eden, a world where people aren't polluting.
The dolphins returned to Sea Worlds. The earth was healing.
Yeah, the earth was healing. Polar bears were polaring again.
They were polarized, just like they should be.
But some new information puts a little wrench in some of that. The whole climate change conversation there. But it has to do with the lockdown. So we have it here in the COVID section. NewScientist.com headline: Puzzling methane rise in 2020 linked to pandemic lockdown effects.
Yeah. Weird.
Says here, a mysterious rise in methane levels in the atmosphere in 2020 may be partly explained by a drop in emissions of nitrogen oxide in the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, I don't remember hearing about the drop in nitrogen oxide specifically. I remember hearing a lot about carbon, the carbon levels are lowering and stuff like that. But different, maybe an unexpected effect, a rise in methane. Although you have a different theory. You think people are just sitting at home.
Is methane nitrogen oxide?
I don't think so. I thought they're two different things.
So we saw a lowering of nitrogen oxide, but we saw an increase in methane.
Yes,
which is strange because methane is also, a exhaust, like in the exhaust of cars,
right?
But yeah, I wasn't too surprised by this, Gons, because I don't know about you, but I could, we saw during the lockdowns, we're stuck in our house, people eating junk food, sitting around doing nothing. It makes total sense that the flatulence, the extra flatulence that was created by the sort of goblin mode nature of lockdown, that I think you get a few, you get 9 billion, 8 billion people going into goblin mode. You're gonna have a rise in methane. That's just
I don't see how movement of the people is any different though. Okay, anyway.
You're laying it back in your lazy boy.
Sure.
You're laying on the couch, which allows.
You're sitting in a couch at home during lockdown. You're now a climate terrorist.
Your pipes. You're like you've become some sort of.
You had too much Italian food. Now you're somehow a climate terrorist. It says here methane.
That too, yeah. People are ordering more food on Grubhub. That'll make you gassy.
Yeah, methane, a potent greenhouse gas, is responsible for 1/5 of the atmospheric warming linked with human activity, according to New Scientist. It can be emitted by the production and transport of coal, natural gas, and oil, or from biological sources such as livestock. Oh, we're just livestock.
Yeah.
We're as the cows. It's just
it's true.
Cattle. Levels of methane in the atmosphere have been rising since 2007, but in 2020 they made their biggest annual jump since records began in 1983. Okay, so it's not that old. The rise is
that long ago.
Yeah, the rise is. By the way, 83, the year I was born, which tells you what's going to happen.
That's when the methane started to rise. The year Gons was born.
Oh, I just incriminated myself. Maybe I am the source of the rise in methane levels consistently. Although 2020, something must have happened.
Old methane Gons, they call it.
Methane Gons. The rise was puzzling as fossil fuel use dropped in 2020 due to a slowdown in human activity caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The International Energy Agency, IEA, said that the fossil fuel sector released less methane into the atmosphere that year than in 2019. To investigate where the gas had come from, Shushi Peng at Peking University in Beijing, China, oh yeah, we trust China for all this stuff, and his colleagues analyzed the greenhouse gas inventories countries provided to the UN in 2020. I'm sure that is absolutely accurate scientific data.
Yeah.
These inventories included emissions data linked with each country's agriculture, waste, and fossil fuel industries. The researchers found that the global production of natural gas decreased by 3.8% in 2020, and that global oil production fell by 7.9% compared to the previous year. They used this info to estimate that methane emissions from these sectors would have dropped by 3.1 million tons compared to the previous year. The researchers also found that methane emissions from the global waste sector decreased slightly in 2020 compared to the previous year, while those from the agriculture industry increased. That's your culprit. Peng says this suggests that the pandemic didn't have as big an impact on the release of methane due to human activities as expected. Okay, so it was agriculture, not lockdowns now? Now I'm confused. Methane is also produced in wetlands by microbes that live in low oxygen environments. To estimate wetlands methane emissions, the researchers devised a model using another model, computer models, folks. Computer models telling us how everything is. Using climate data that describes the effects of temperature and rain on wetlands emissions, they found that warmer and wetter weather in the northern hemisphere led to wetlands in that region producing 6 million tons more methane in 2020 compared to 2019. Wetter weather increases the area of wetlands, and warmer weather increases the activity of methane-producing microbes. But this rise in wetlands emissions only accounted for about 47% of the global rise in methane levels, says Peng. Okay. I'm done going down the rabbit trail. I get it now.
Yeah, okay.
I get it.
I thought you had a reason.
It's a complicated...
I thought you had a
complex
punchline at the end.
It's not much
we
of a
know
punchline.
why it happened. It was because of Uber Eats and Grubhub and
they say
Goblin
agriculture. They say it's not human activity, it's agriculture.
Goblins give off more methane than we could possibly imagine.
I think this is a recategorizing, relabeling of human livestock. We're all just
Speaking
agriculture.
of which, let's head on over to Toronto.ctv News. It's the Canadian news outlet here. I want to thank producer Lotta for sending us this. The headline, Ontarians unvaccinated against COVID-19 may be more at risk of traffic crashes. Study finds.
What?
Right. Science. Are you ready for some science, Gons?
I'm ready to...
Unvaccinated people are more at risk of traffic crashes. Okay. Individuals not vaccinated against COVID-19 may have an increased risk of being involved in a traffic crash in Ontario, a new study has found. The research was conducted at Sunnybrook Hospital and published in the American Journal of Medicine earlier this month. Okay, hold on. We'll get into more of this, and they have some stuff to say. But why? Who would study this? Who would think, I'm going to compare the rates of vaccinated car crashes and unvaccinated car crashes?
My immediate response is correlation is not causation. You know, that
those
trope.
Things. Right, sure. But why would it even occur to you unless you were doing it as a joke, like a science prank? There's what on earth would even, because before you start an experiment, this is the scientific method. We all know this, but we also know that that's not as appreciated anymore as it used to be. Before you experiment, you need a hypothesis. Yeah. You're not supposed to experiment without hypothesis. So you got to hypothesize, then experiment and observe and theorize or do it again. And who at this hospital?
I have a theory.
Thinking, you know somebody who did this. Okay.
Well, no, I don't. I have a theory. Just a thesis.
I'm listening.
Okay, so somebody over there at Sunnybrook Hospital.
You have a hypothesis.
I have a hypothesis, yes.
Yes.
Somebody over there at Sunnybrook Hospital is driving around. He gets rear-ended, right? Oh no, what's happening? He turns around. He sees an Asian driver. And he thinks, oh no. The Asians and their driving, they're just horrible at driving. And then he gets out and says, didn't say you vaccinated, and they start yelling at each other. You crashed because you're unvaccinated. You stopped the car, whatever. The guy starts yelling. The Asian guy starts yelling about how everyone's vaccinated, and then this guy gets triggered. He's like, "Oh, hey, maybe just like how Asians can't drive, the unvaccinated can't drive. Let me go look into it." What do you think? What do you think?
I think there's some pretty glaring leaps of narrative there, but I see what you're saying. Let's figure it out.
Okay.
The study found that traffic risks were 50 to 70% more frequent. 70% more frequent for adults who have not been vaccinated compared to those who had received their shots.
I kind of sense how to lie with statistics.
That is an enormous number. 50 per. There's no other. You couldn't pick any other descriptor that would match 50 to 70% of adults who are having whatever accidents. What else could you say? You couldn't say drunk or not drunk. No, those numbers aren't right. Whatever. I don't know. Asian or not Asian. Those numbers aren't even right. Whatever. Men, women, doesn't matter. Whatever. You couldn't pick a sort of bivalence that would come out with 50 to 70% more frequent. The results were similar regardless of the vaccine brand and individual received.
Which doesn't make any sense because
makes no sense.
We're talking about the unvaccinated, so why care who like? Did they have did they parse out like? Oh, actually, there was more.
They parsed out who. If you got Pfizer, you were more protected from traffic accidents than if you got Moderna.
Right.
Or you got. It's just the weirdest. It's like the experiment was created to push a narrative. It's like the narrative came first, and then they just kind of went back and looked at data or something. Now, of course, in case you're tempted, folks, to attribute the safe driving record to a vaccination. This says, quote, "This does not mean COVID-19 vaccination directly prevents traffic crashes," said Donald Redmeyer, principal investigator and senior scientist at Sunnybrook Research Institute. He said in a statement, "No kidding, Donald. We know that being vaccinated doesn't save you from traffic crashes. The fact you're even putting this in the statement is so suspicious. It's just the weirdest thing to say on the weirdest scientific paper. Instead, it suggests that adults, listen to this. Instead, it suggests that adults who do not follow public health advice may also neglect the rules of the road."
Oh my gosh, this is such a behavioral. If
you don't get vaccinated, it means you're a bad driver.
Oh
if you don't,
it suggests,
which I think is concerning in Canada, considering the vast population of the truck driver industry that was fighting against vaccinations. With these numbers, is like their whole entire trucking
all the truckers should just be rolled over on the side of the road in Canada from all the unvaccinated truck drivers exploding their vehicles.
Exactly. And I think that this is messaging. So the very idea of this experiment makes no sense. It's stupid. I mean, you'd have a person on drugs, a bomb thoughts with Chris Shilzilla level person on drugs would rip a huge bong, blow it out, and be like, "Oh, we should do an experiment, man. What if vaccination saves you from car crashes? Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that, fellow scientist." And then they go and they do it. There's no reason to study this in the first place, except for you come up with these results and you can say, "Hey, I know everybody is waking up to the fact that things, turned out a little different with the vaccines than we expected, but that doesn't mean the truck drivers are right. Those unvaccinated truck drivers, it's good. You should be thanking us that we got them off the road, that we froze their bank accounts, that they lost their jobs. It's a good thing that those unvaccinated truck drivers, got laid off for non-compliance, because they were 50 to 70% more likely to crash anyways, because they're roguish scoundrels." Over 11 million people were included in the study. That is a lot of people. Of those participants, Of those participants, about 16% had not received a COVID-19 vaccine doses.
Okay.
It does say that, a COVID-19 vaccine doses. Quote, "Those who had not received a vaccine also were more likely to have a diagnosis of alcohol misuse or depression, and less likely to have a diagnosis of sleep apnea." Weird. Less likely to have a diagnosis of sleep apnea, diabetes, cancer, or dementia.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's hilarious. The unvaccinated are alcoholic depressives, but the vaccinated, they're snoring diabetes, cancer, dementia patients. That doesn't really bode well for the vaccinated in the study. The study found, quote, about 4% had a past COVID diagnosis with no major imbalance between the two groups. More than 6,600 car crashes were examined during the course of the study and were defined as a patient needing to seek emergency care at a hospital and did not include minor crashes or severe ones in which there were deaths at the scene. Whoa.
Okay,
so that's a weird Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where maybe things were manipulated a little bit, because if you do count the number of deaths and what was the other one? Did not include minor crashes.
Right.
Okay. The website itself, the Sunnybrook.ca website, says here that the study found unvaccinated adults accounted for 1,682 traffic crashes. That's 25% of the 6,600 crashes that in total, right? And it says in parentheses, 25%, right? So unvaccinated, it's 25% of all the crashes were unvaccinated people, but the way they manipulate this is equal to a 72% increase relative risk compared to those who were vaccinated.
Straight how to lie with statistics.
Yes.
This is how to lie with statistics 101.
Yeah. You take the difference and use that as a statistic, not the actual percentage of the accidents of the unvaccinated. This is very sneaky.
Right. Yeah, of course. And also why leave out minor crashes and fatal crashes?
Yeah. Well, probably because the numbers aren't favorable. There's not much of a way to make the unvaccinated, seem like they're bad drivers who can't follow rules.
Well, it's unfavorable to their results. They want the result that the unvaccinated are getting in more crashes, and you kind of just have to find ways, once you have your data, fiddle with it, change variables, do whatever you have to do to make it come up with the narrative that you want. Because why? Why would you leave out minor crashes, and why would you leave out fatal crashes? If you're trying to figure out if vaccinated or unvaccinated get in more crashes, what's the point of leaving out any kind of crash at all?
Right.
Why just have all of them in there? No, they obviously just found the Goldilocks zone that would support their narrative.
It's funny that they would have to publish that, though, because they would be called out on it if they didn't.
Well, right. And the funny thing is that's like scientifically integrous to put that in there.
Yeah.
But it makes no sense to do. And people are, just because it's in there, people are like, oh yeah, see, they did science, and not even thinking about the fact that it's like, why in the world, would you run this study anyways? Two, why in the world would you leave out certain kinds of crashes? Yeah. Probably, that's what I want to know. Why don't they not take those out? Keep the minor crashes and the fatal ones in.
Yeah.
What's the numbers there?
Yeah,
we
would like to see.
There, baby.
Yeah,
that's a good
question. What's the percentage of the unvaccinated then? I mean, just in the numbers alone, they said that the unvaccinated adults accounted for 25%. So it's already only 1/4 of the accidents that they counted that were actually unvaccinated people. So it's not significant. Anyway.
This is very silly. Yeah. The survey found the traffic risks associated with vaccine hesitancy was significantly higher than the risk associated with diabetes or dementia.
You're better. You're better driver.
The traffic risks. No. The traffic risks are higher. So if you're unvaccinated, you're more likely to get in a traffic accident than get diabetes or dementia.
Are you sure it's that, or is that it,
No,
or is it, or is it that the people with diabetes or dementia, they are getting in less accidents than the unvaccinated? Because it says it was second only to the risk associated with alcohol misuse. That's why I'm wondering if it's
No. These are the risks. The risks to an unvaccinated person, or as they put it, vaccine hesitancy.
Right.
These are the risks to a vaccine hesitant person. They are more likely to get in a traffic accident than they are diabetes or dementia, which is like, here's my giant, like, what do you want? You want apples? You want oranges? Let me compare them for you. None of this makes any sense in practicality. What would be the reason? And then, like you said, it goes, in fact, it was second only to the risk associated with alcohol misuse. So if you're vaccine hesitant, here's your risk list.
Right. You're almost as risky as a drunk driver.
No, you are. Yeah, right. So if you're a vaccine hesitant person, you are number one, more prone to alcohol use. Then you're more prone to a traffic accident. And then diabetes or dementia after that. It's just the weirdest possible message that they're trying to send. Riddlemeyer said the research isn't meant to make unvaccinated people feel persecuted or to suggest they should stop driving. What is the purpose? What is it meant to do? It doesn't say. Quote, instead, we suggest they drive a bit more carefully, he added. Quote, this is what happens if you put AI in charge of the government. Yeah. It would take this and, take away unvaccinated driver's licenses. Yeah. I mean, that's what this is used for. Mm-hmm. Quote, physicians counseling patients who decline COVID-19 vaccination could consider safety reminders so their patients do not become traffic statistics. He never explains why this is important at all. This is just, this might be the dumbest scientific paper to come out of COVID. Like all together, across the board, the dumbest scientific study to happen in the past 3 years.
Oh, I will guarantee we'll see another one worse than this in 2023. I don't think that's hard to predict.
Oh, you guarantee it? Huh?
I guarantee it. Yeah, it'll be something like the unvaccinated are more likely to. No, I don't have any inside scoop. I'm throwing pancakes at the wall, seeing which one sticks.
I know. You just know it'll get stupider and stupider because that's how the world works.
That's just how the world is. Yeah, you don't have to be.
Okay. Well, it is. Let's see. I am a half hour past my cutoff time, so I'm going to have to go, Gons.
Okay.
I apologize.
Yeah, you're leaving me in the dust. I see how it is, bro.
Yeah, no. We had a late start today. I have, and if I could stay, I would. I literally have people on the way to the house right now. And,
they don't want you. They don't want to hear you yelling about COVID statistics and driving. People?
I got some normies. Some normies are coming out.
Okay.
So if the normies show up and I don't answer the door and through the window of their weird off-grid emu ranch friend, the last thing I need them to hear is me screaming about COVID science and Canadian traffic incidences and Nephilim in the Antarctic. That's the last thing I need.
Well, that's what they need, Basil. Let's just be honest. This is it might change their lives. You never know. They walk in. Oh, where's Basil? Oh, he's still doing the show. What is he talking about? Oh, some important world events.
The balloon spiders are coming for all of us.
Yeah. All right. Well. All right. Farewell.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to do that. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Basil on this episode. Have fun listening to Gons more on this episode. And thank you for producing the show. And I will be back.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Bye. Okay. Let's see. Where are we at? We are going to thank some more producers right now, and we're going to thank producers who come in with their talent. Break. Oh, yep. Hold on. One more. This is break. Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content. We're going to take a few moments here to thank producers who come in with their talent. We already thanked our producers who came in with their treasure, but we just encourage those of you who have God-given talents to contribute to the show. Help us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. All we ask is that your piece of art has to do with the show specifically. And we're going to start off. I don't think we have any speak pipe today, so we will go into some audio production.
Audio production. Productions.
All right, we had something from Jonathan F. This was actually from the last episode, but it was kind of unclear what we were supposed to do, but it was because Jonathan F. forgot to attach the file, but we got the file today. The note associated with this piece here, Emsworth requested this little snippet of music to be sent into the show. I added the backing track for 12 Days of Christmas and some enhancements. So here it is, Jonathan F. 12 Lies of COVID.
For the 12th lie of COVID, it's provocated me. The destruction of my country, 11 boosters needed. You'll like owning nothing. Comebacks are dirty. Truckers are so scary. Totally useless eaters. No ivermectin. Post-quarantine. That's what walk the bog, walk up granny. 2 weeks to plug, and I'll play from a lavatory.
All right. Somebody did send us the link to the 12 Lies of COVID, so I appreciate that. Jonathan F. memorializing that. And it's perfect. Perfect for the season. Thank you very much. You know what I forgot to do, Jonathan F., was play your jingle.
Jonathan F.
There he is. Thank you for your ongoing contribution, Jonathan F. We also have, this is actually a little bit of a side note from Marty B.
Biden's your Marty B. jingle.
He sent in the song Glorify. I think it's a little bit of a different version with angels on the first verse. So we will play that at the end of the show. Marty B, he says, thank you for playing it. I got my supply drop and I'm working on a Sir Salmon's bumper. All right, Sir Salmon's getting a bumper. And actually, he sent a picture, Marty B did, of his guitar with a Charlie Charlie November Tango sticker from the supply drop on the guitar. Thank you, Marty B. We're honored by this. This is awesome. And what kind of guitar is this? It doesn't show the headstock there, so I don't know what guitar it is, but it's got some beautiful humbuckers. It's kind of got like a Firebird shape. For those of you who know guitars, kind of a lovely, sparkly gray-blue color. Nice little pick guard with is that an eagle or a bird or something there? A swan, maybe? Very nice. Very beautiful guitar there, Marty B. Is that, hopefully that's what we're hearing on all these tracks that you're playing. So there you go. Thank you, Marty B, for your ongoing contributions as well. All right, moving on. We're going to do some art.
One art, please.
And we start with Sir Dove, Knight of Respeltia.
One art piece from Dove.
Sir Dove has a note here that says, peace. For today's artwork, I made an advertisement for Basil's newest business venture. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you. And yes, we need Basil to get the full analysis here, but it's the Revelation Ready Rabbits raised at the Razzle Dazzle Rabbit Ranch. Just 6 easy payments of $11.11 plus $13.33 shipping and handling. Too hot for YouTube. Call now for a chance to win. Buy one, get 12 free pregnancy bonus. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Basil started his little rabbit farm, and you know what rabbits do? They are fruitful and they multiply. And I think Basil's having a hard time containing the rabid growing family of rabbits. So we were trying to figure out how to get some of these rabbits into the hands of some of you out there. So, this is where things get weird. You know, this is kind of bordering a joke, a meme, something culturally in the community, Canary Cry community. But at the same time, there's a little bit of seriousness because there is a literal emergency on Basil's land, overpopulation of rabbits. Yeah, we gotta tone it down. We gotta distribute those rabbits because we're not into eugenics over here. We don't want to eugenicize the rabbit population. So, 33-day money back guarantee. Call 1-877-720-3226. I believe that is our text number. So, yeah, there you go. Revelation Ready rabbits are solely operated by the Razzle Dazzle Rabbit Ranch. CCNT, CCR, Ravel, and the Shimura Estate are not responsible for any claims or guarantees. Thank you. Sir Dove, just really covering all the necessary things that you need to cover when you start selling rabbits online. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. Appreciate it. Okay, now comes the question, because we have some microfiction, and usually with microfiction, we got to have Basil's deep, resonating, chesty voice. My voice doesn't have the same kind of epic thing going on, so yeah, I don't know what to do, because we got one from Runk Smash. We got one from The Sentinel. We have one from Stephen S. I think I'm just going to save it. I'm going to save it because these microfictions were written, in my opinion. Tell me if I'm wrong, Runk Smash, Sentinel, and Stephen S. They were written with Basil's voice in mind, is how I imagined these microfiction people are tackling it. So I will save it. I'll give you a day off from Monday if you wanted to send in more, give you a chance to catch up, or give us a chance to catch up. So we'll skip the microfiction for today, and we will just continue on. Thank you very much for bringing them in, though. They really do highlight and color the the milieu of Canary Cry. So thank you very much. All right, let's go ahead and get into the last story here.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
And interestingly enough, right before we went live, Basil and I sit down and we go through all the stories we're going to go through, and we were looking at this one, and at first Basil was like, what's the point? Yeah, what's the big deal? And he soon realized it's everything. It's everything, folks. Everything. Newsweek.com headline: Woman with unusual strength claiming to be a god fights multiple cops. Now, for those of you who have been around for a while, I did make a documentary that was published in 2011. My gosh, last decade, folks, a long time ago, called Age of Deceit, Fallen Angels, and the New World Order. And I discussed the late Russ Dizdar's research, The Black Awakening, in that documentary. And at the time, there was a story about these two, I believe they were British. If I need to revisit some of that, but I think it was a British report from like the BBC or something. It was kind of a mini documentary following these two women, and they kind of went nuts. A truck like ran over one of them or something. If there was some violent activity, and they just got up and they kept going after the police. And it was just a wild situation, very much similar to what Russ Dizdar was describing with what he called, or what he identified, the darker arts folks out there as the Black Awakening, which is this program that it goes into trauma-based mind control, where basically you traumatize people at a very young age, and when that happens, when you present the trauma, the personalities split. And what they do, and I think there's a clinical way to discuss this, but also obviously a spiritual way to discuss this, and I'll do both here. But basically, the trauma takes place, and the personalities splinter when that happens. And when they splinter, they assign demons to personalities, and they become submerged personalities. They're sort of buried personalities. And then through the use of certain triggers or mantras or some kind of mechanism, they're able to bring those personalities to the forefront And it's a common thing. And people know about MK Ultra and stuff like that nowadays. It's pretty ubiquitous in modern culture. I don't think most people recognize the spiritual side of it, the actual demonic side of things. They're more thinking about it in the terms of just regular mind control or hypnotism or something like that. But there's something a lot deeper going on in those situations. So that's the theme. That's sort of the backdrop, the over a decade of looking at this topic that brings us to this story about a woman with unusual strength claiming to be a god fights multiple cops. So let me walk you through this. A Florida woman, of course it's in Florida. And that's another thing. This is why Basil was turned off by the story initially. He got on board after the fact, but initially because, basically if from afar, it's another person in Florida on drugs doing something crazy. But I think there's something more going on. A Florida woman who claimed to be an Egyptian god was unaffected by a stun gun and had to be held down by multiple cops as they arrested her in Miami Beach over the weekend. The bizarre incident unfolded on Sunday afternoon when officers were called to reports of a disturbance at Espanola Way and Washington Avenue. According to the arrest report, Emily Thomas Lockton, 26 years old, stopped her car in traffic, exited the vehicle, and began screaming in the street. She allegedly became increasingly enraged and slammed the hoods of passing cars before attacking a nearby Cuban restaurant, officers stated in the report that was cited by local news channel WPLG. Lockton of Boynton Beach, Florida, slammed tables and hurled dishes and cups at customers at the eatery, then slapped the hand of the restaurant's manager when he asked her to leave, officers said. There is a photo of this woman. She has dreadlocks. In this photo, she definitely looks like she's on drugs. I mean, I don't know. African-American woman. It's just her eyes, okay? The way her eyes are slanted and sort of, that's not maybe not the right word. She just looks like she's on drugs. Let's just say that. But when a cop tried to take her into custody, she allegedly became even more, quote, aggressive and hostile and slapped his face. A lot of slapping going on. The officer deployed his taser, but it failed to stun her, and she then managed to evade a second officer by aiming a blow at him. Oh my gosh. Which he managed to dodge, the report states. I'm sorry to laugh, but this is just, it's crazy. She showed, quote, unusual strength, end quote, possibly as a result of, quote, an unknown substance, the account of the arrest added. Sure, it could be some substance or it could be a demon. It reportedly took multiple officers to eventually subdue Thomas Lockton and get the handcuffs on her, and she had to be restrained in a stretcher taken from a fire truck. Officers claimed she was screaming that she was related to the late rapper Tupac Shakur and was also, quote, a god from ancient Egypt who could take on all of us. Wow. Okay. She was taken to Mount Sinai Medical Center for assessment. In a strange coincidence, Mount Sinai is the name of the Egyptian mountain where Moses is said to have received the Ten Commandments from God. Newsweek, why are you suddenly dropping? Okay, Mount Sinai is a fairly well-known, established medical center across the country, right? I know there's a big Mount Sinai in Los Angeles. It's a well-established institution. For Newsweek to just go from, oh, she was taken to Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai, the name of an Egyptian mountain where Moses received the Ten Commandments of God. What is this? Is this a Face Like the Sun video? Because that's something I would say like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. I was like, oh, Mount Sinai, eh? And I'm not saying this is bad. I'm saying, why is Newsweek doing it? I think there's a reason. Let's continue here. After being medically cleared, the suspect was taken to the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center. She faces charges of battery on a police officer, resisting an officer with violence, assault on a police officer, disorderly conduct, and resisting an officer without violence. Without violence, huh? So I guess slapping is not violent anymore. The case, again, pay attention, folks. The case comes just a month after a shocking survey was published, which revealed an astonishing 39% of Americans believe we are currently living in the end times. We reported on this story a couple episodes ago. The Pew Research Center survey of 10,156 adults was titled How Religion Intersects with Americans' Views on the Environment. End of article. So Newsweek went from just reporting on this incident with this lady all the way to, the new Pew study. Have you seen the Pew study? Almost 40% of Americans believe we're in the end times. There is actually no association with the story itself to this report about the Pew Research thing about, 40% of Americans believing we're in the end times, which, hey, that's a lot. That's a lot. And that it's, first off, Basil doesn't think it's accurate. I do agree with him on some extent. The study was a little bit skewed. I mean, 10,000 people is a lot, but it doesn't necessarily, depending on where you're getting your 10,000, there's a lot of different variables that, could be, or maybe not be, reflecting reality. Although I will say that there are definitely more people who believe that we're in the end times, or at least in some biblical times, so to speak, or biblically relevant times. So it's not surprising in some regard. And also, I think it speaks right into the rise of the conversation of Christian nationalism that we've seen take place in the last couple of years, specifically. This sort of radicalized right-wing extremists conversation and their wild, wacky religious views and all this, and trying to associate it with. I'm not sure if News Talk is trying to be like, just like how these people believe, these 40% of people who are crazy in America, they actually think that this woman was an Egyptian god. It's weird. It's like, is it affirming that premise, or is it making fun of it, or like what is Newsweek doing? It's very fascinating, especially Newsweek being a very prominent news outlet. If we go to the Harvard project or media ownership, U.S. media ownership list, we've done Newsweek a few times here, but just to reiterate the point, Newsweek unclear funding since Newsweek was spun off from Etienne Uzak's International Business Times Media in September 2018. Newsweek has been owned by Jonathan Davis and Dev Pragad. They're co-founders of Newsweek. In 2018, CNN reported that Uzak and his wife, Marion Kim, were resigning from Newsweek Media Group. Prague served as CEO, overseeing all of Newsweek. There's definitely some changes there. Oh, right here. Let's see. Davis is married to the president of Christian College, Olivet University. In 2020, Uzak pleaded guilty to fraud and money laundering charges by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and has been accused of deep ties to a shadowy Christian cult and many other scandals. The opinion section is brimming with right-wing columnists. Nigel Farage, right-wing, super right-wing. Newt Gingrich and are regulars, as is Alan Dershowitz. Okay, so there's a little bit of a right-leaning thing there, I guess, but I just think it's bizarre. The whole story is bizarre. It does, I think, affirm a sort of a Black Awakening situation that Russ Dizdar talked about, where a lot of people who have been conditioned with the mind control and the MK Ultra tactics and the multiple personality disorder stuff, and drugs fuel that, and it's a whole. There's an official network, I think, of individuals and groups doing it, and it spreads out culturally into other areas. Once it's spread culturally, then the institutions, the official outlets, don't even really need to stoke it. Much like we saw that Ukraine tweet, the defense of Ukraine, really just upholding witchcraft in their Twitter presence. Once it's in the culture, boom, you're sort of affirming it as you go. So I just think it's very fascinating to see this story be brought into mainstream milieu, I guess. by referencing the end times thing. And that Pew Research thing, that something is very suspicious about that Pew Research study, because as we're seeing already with this Newsweek piece, it's going to be used, I think, to marginalize a lot of believers, especially people who have an interest in eschatology. And I say that specifically because, look, every believer has an eschatology. You know, I know there's different versions of it, and some people are, you know, amillennial, meaning that, you know, there's no millennial. There's all kinds of. I don't want to get into the discussion of doctrine because it is wide ranging. I have my own opinions about what crosses the line and becomes more towards heresy and all that, but for the most part, there's an idea that most Christians share, which is the second coming of Christ. And, you know, whether it happens in our lifetime or not, we don't know. Although, you know, things are the way the world is going, it makes sense. A lot of the scriptures and Revelation and Ezekiel and all those passages that are wild and weird and trippy and don't make much sense or just dismissed as allegory or metaphor, seems to, as crazy as the world is getting, some of those passages make more sense now in this world in 2022, moving into 2023. But the media, the establishment itself, would like to project this idea that people that believe that are all just crazy. We had the mental, you know, people who see aliens and ghosts have mental problems. We saw that story last episode. So they're definitely constructing the narrative, and they will have more data, quote unquote, like the Pew study here that's referenced to support the narrative. And that's a dangerous thing when you have collusion in that way, where you have institutions like Pew Research, you know, collaborating with mainstream media to paint a narrative. So there you go. Yeah, there's more to be said about this, and obviously, you know, we can't go in, you know, under the hood and know exactly what was happening, especially because, and I reference back to the late Russ Dizdar. You know, he was boots on the ground. You know, I know he did a lot of ministry stuff in terms of recordings, and he had a book and things of that nature, but he was true boots on the ground, prayer warrior, going into enemy territory, you know, praying away the location of things, actually going to the locations, clearing the air he used to talk about, you know, where you bring the Holy Spirit and you just literally clear the space. It's kind of like a way to chase away all the negative entities that may be inhabiting those locations and things of that nature. And so when you look at it from that perspective, who knows what this individual was into, or what prompted her to get to this point, or what she is being exposed to, what kind of information she's being exposed to suggest. I mean, you know, related to rapper Tupac Shakur is, I don't know. You know, that could be from anywhere. But specifically, of course, the claim that she is a god from ancient Egypt does sort of, I guess, imply a principle, or I don't even think it's a doctrine. It's sort of just a nuanced piece of information when it comes to, when you're looking at the Nephilim, when you're looking at Genesis 6 and the narrative there that we've sort of built all this, at least our ministry on. We've been talking about those issues from the get-go and how relevant they are, how important they are to understanding what's going on in the world. It's sort of a missing piece for a lot of believers and non-believers, where they're like, okay, well, the Bible, yes, there's important things with the Bible in your life and all this stuff, but really the explanatory power of the world, the fallen world. You know, if you don't have the Nephilim in there, it doesn't, I mean, it just helps make more sense of things. But in that regard, part of what the narrative is when it comes to the Nephilim is that once the flood took place, the bodies of these Nephilim, who were half angelic and half human, right? Because sons of God, if you go to Genesis 6, sons of God, the Beneha Elohim, mated with human women, daughters of Adam, which were mankind, and they had Nephilim. And so, you know, the bodies were destroyed, but the spirits, these unholy, this spirit of this unholy union survived in sort of a non-corporeal sense, like a non-physical sense. And that's why we see demons in the New Testament, and Jesus is, you know, doing his thing and getting rid of them and commanding them, and he has power over them. And so we do too, you know, through his authority. But in that sense, these gods of the ancient world were sort of that. They were sort of embodying the Watchers, embodying the principalities and powers that ruled over various locations. If you go back to Tower of Babel, I can go rabbit trails on that all day. So in that sense, the spirit behind this woman claiming to be a god from ancient Egypt is 1-to-1 in line with the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim post-flood. And so is she actually inhabited by a demonic spirit? Potentially. Is it just crazy drug talk? Potentially. Do those two, are they mutually exclusive? I don't think so. I think substances assist in the spiritual realm and the occult and everything else. So it's just a fascinating story and a fascinating news report from Newsweek referencing the end times believers in the context of a woman with unusual strength claiming to be a god, displaying her sort of, not immortality, obviously, but her strength, her unusual strength. Guy tries to tase him, nothing. It takes multiple people to hold her down. Classic case of the sort of MK Ultra triggered, some of these demonically possessed Black Awakening type super soldiers. Specifically also is what the Rustiz are called them. So, just a throwback. And whenever stories like this come across my table, I definitely want to mention it, reference the people that came before us that did the research, did the boots on the ground reporting and praying and everything else, because it helps make sense of stories like this. And we're going to see more of it. And of course, there's always that joke about Florida. Like, why is all this happening in Florida? Like, what's up with Florida? Is there? And we haven't heard much about the Bermuda Triangle. Bermuda Triangle isn't one of the locations of the triangle off the coast of Florida. Maybe that portal's been open for a while or something. And Florida's just it's a battleground. Maybe that's why there's a conservative push there too. Sort of the right-left paradigm. Being the symptoms of some kind of, spiritual presence there. So anyway, there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Apologies for Basil having to bail out the last few minutes or last segment of the show. He'll be back Monday, and hope everyone has a great weekend. What do we have this weekend? I'm looking at the calendar. Nothing to mention, although, this past Wednesday was the Sandy Hook 10-year anniversary of Sandy Hook. That's right. They did the interfaith, ceremony or something, right? For the victims of Sandy Hook. So yeah, very interesting. The interfaith thing. Again, anytime, one of the things that I think we do that's a little different from some of the other news deconstruction sites, or not sites, but podcasts or shows or whatever's out there, is we do stand on the pillars of the Bible and the spiritual principles and everything else, and the gospel message truly as a foundation. And so, we're always kind of looking at things from a spiritual lens and trying to comment on it as much as possible when we do see things. And so when there is a deliberate interfaith presence going on with the death of children, even, you can believe it's real or it's whatever, you can have actual deaths in PSYOPs and operations that may not be fully true. But it doesn't really matter other than, again, the messaging that happens and the spiritual implications ultimately. So anyway, I ramble. That's the thing. Basil's not here to cap me and try to just stop me from just rambling. I will go on forever and ever. So I need to make sure that we get out of here on time so that I can get back to my family. So we're going to thank some people. We thanked our producers who came in with their treasure. We thank producers who came in with their talent. I do want to thank some producers who contribute with their time. And wow, nothing is working. Oh, that's not good. What? My mouse dead? What is happening? No buttons are working. Am I still live? Okay. Oh, wow. What is happening? Oh, no. Why can't I click on anything? Oh, this is good. It's always fun. All right, let me try this. Hold on. I'm going to turn off the mouse here and turn it back on. I literally cannot click on anything. I can't move. I feel like I'm stuck in some concrete or something. Mouse is not recognizing now. Okay, well, what do I do? I don't even know what to do. I don't know what to do. My mouse is completely frozen. Oh boy. All right, hold on. You're going to hear a little buzzy buzz. Can I play a song? Oh, here's my mouse. Is it clicking? Oh, it's working. Okay, good. Oh, praise God. Thank you. All right. Yes. So we're going to thank our producers. Starting off with our Clippies.
Flippy. Clipping all those videos. Thanks.
Emsworth, Faye Liverin, thank you very much for your ongoing support with the clipping of the video and creating the clips, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much. We also have people that help out the Clippies, which helps out the show, which are the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
And the timestamper for episode 571, Demon Sky Portals, was, oh boy, another freeze. Oh gosh, what is going on? Oh man, stuff is really falling apart. Oh, reloading. What? Oh my goodness. This is not good. This is not good. I apologize. I don't know what's happening. It's like the end of the week, and we had a technology meltdown this week. You know, Basil's computer melted down, and now I'm having issues with stuff loading properly. Okay, Christine C. Thank you, Christine C., for doing the timestamps for episode 571. Appreciate it. Social media.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media. Follow us.
Thank you to Dame Miss G of the OV and Deep Rivers for doing all the social medias. Appreciate you. Appreciate those who are, and also those who are on Twitter. We're going to try to maybe, we've been talking about making a presence on Twitter, but I forgot to mention too, the supply drop NFTs that I made during Q1 of this year that I still have, I can still distribute those. That was also minted on Polygon, the same blockchain that Trump published his NFTs on. So, hey, there's something there. Although since then, Polygon's announced again like 50 different partnerships with like super mainstream people like Adidas and Disney and stuff. So, man. But in any case, social media.
Canary Crime Meetup.
No, not social media. Meetups. Losing my mind. Meetups. Go to canarycrimemeetups.com, and if you don't see a meetup happening near you, which is probably all of you because there's no meetup scheduled so far for 2023, choose a location, figure out a date and time, make a flyer. We'll promote it and get to know some people in your local area who are also listeners of the show. We encourage it. So see you at the meetup.
This is fun. See you at the meetup.
Yeah, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and a review. I know every show asks for it, and we always ask for it too, but we really appreciate those who come in with a rating and a review. It helps us in the algos. You know, we are unfortunately in the age of algos, and we are not that we like this, but it's just a fact of life in 2022 is we are in competition with all these different shows on platforms like Apple Podcasts, and it's an algo war. It's a people click war. So if you go in there and click 5 stars or 1, I mean, you can be, if you hate us, you can leave a review too. That's totally fine. But we just ask that you go there and do that. We have a few, I know we're behind on these reviews, but I'm going to read one that came in on the 13th from Stephen R. David. Here's one for the Canary Swole Train. No baby pecs allowed. God bless and thank you for consistent, great episodes 3 times a week. Thank you very much, Stephen R. David. Am I supposed to do push-ups? Will you guys wait for me to do push-ups? All right, I'm going to I don't want to move the camera. I have a webcam here. I'm not going to move it because that's a little too much. Too much stuff. But let's see. How many should I do? Let's see. Came in with on the 13th of December. All right, maybe I'll do 13. 13's a lot of push-ups. Okay. Do 333 every day, Gabby L. Gabby L, I would do the show shirtless if I was doing 333 push-ups every day. I would not hide those pecs if they were receiving 333 push-ups daily. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Let's see. 13 push-ups. Okay. I'm gonna 13 good? I'm serious. I'm going to do it. This is a crazy podcast. Battle's not here to stop me from doing anything. I'm going to do push-ups. That's what it takes. All right. Let's see. I'm going to play some music or something in the background so that at least there's something else going on while I do this. Okay. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to get some James M. Flyaway as I do 13 push-ups.
When the news of the day gets to feeling like a maze, it's okay, don't be afraid if you don't know what to say. Canary, cry awaits. When your brain's in a haze on a headline days, come on ahead my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry awaits.
All right, here you go. 13 push-ups. Maybe I'll do the day that it comes in or something, right? Because it came in on the 13th. So I think but yeah, that's going to be rough if people coming in. That's going to incentivize everybody to leave a rating and a review later in the month. But maybe that's a good thing. If people are coming in with that, I might have to break it up into a couple different things. Go for the whole song, says Night of the Hungry Panda. Yeah, I mean, that song right there is, how long is that? I could maybe probably do that. 1:07. Yeah. Okay. Well. All right. Thank you, Stephen R. David. It's happened. I took advantage of Basil's absence, and I went ahead. I started the push-up tradition here for Canary Swole Radio, starting after this point. The day it comes in, that's it. But I am not making the full rules here because this is problematic. If a bunch of people come in, I'm going to have 50, 60 push-ups to do at the end of each episode. And that's rough. I can do that many on air, you guys are going to torture me. Okay. What else is there to do before we get going here? I think that's it. All we got to do now is to tell you to share the show, share it with friends and family. Tell them weird Asian Christian guys doing push-ups at the end of these podcasts. You can't miss it. So yeah, maybe that'll incentivize people to come listen to the ridiculous nature of what this has become. Sometimes I wonder, oh my, what is happening? And by the way, I am in my final days of my 30s. I am going to hit the peak of the hill in January 2023, and it's all downhill from there. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. I have mixed emotions running through me. There's the things that I haven't accomplished, the things I would still like to accomplish, all the midlife crisis type of thoughts. They are a brewing. So you guys have any advice for me or prayers for me? Appreciate that. Yeah, but share the show, share it with friends, share it with family, share it with pets, strangers. Sharing with strangers is always good too, because you can really just lay down something thick, like aliens, politics, Nephilim, biblical, but news, like understanding news, and then just walk away. Just leave the link or give them the show and just walk away. Also, the street team flyers. You guys have resources. We got to add more up on this page here, but if you go to Canary Cry, I think it's canarycrystreetteam.com. If not, you can just go to canarycrimenewstalk.com and click on Street Team. And we have a bunch of flyers you guys can print and post around, and they're fun and they're eye-catching, and people will probably wonder what is going on, but it's certainly an attention grabber. So we have that available for you as a resource if you would like to help share the show. You don't have to just rely on your own ideas here. So we got resources. But yes, we just encourage that because WOM, right? Word of mouth is still the best way to get the show out there. Especially if you want to hear like isolated. By the way, the whole biblical end time story, man, Biden is so right.
Armageddon's on the way.
He's never been right about much, but that one thing, man, Joe has been spot on. Although he has been honest at other times.
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
Yeah, so. Oh, man. 2022, when we have a hologram for a president. Okay. What are we doing? We're going to end the show. Other ways you can share the show. We call it Rattling Cages. I can't talk anymore. These push-ups, my pecs are screaming at me. You just walk right up to him. You grab him by the cage. You get him down to the ground. You do some push-ups, and then you shake him.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Just ask Noah. Yeah, it's about all the stuff we were just talking about there. I like Saul to Paul. And a GIF as a host. Yes, my co-host was fully reduced to simply a emote on the screen. Doesn't talk. But, his presence is always welcome. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hopefully you're starting to spend time with family and friends and enjoy your time. Stay blessed. Stay watchful. We'll see you on Monday the 19th for episode 573. Oh my goodness, we're going to hit 600 episodes next year, folks. So there you go. Thank you so much. God bless. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome weekend. And don't forget to think outside the cage.
For God's sake. Faith in Lord.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have? It's okay. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap.
It takes time. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. It's like, a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Hey, you gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love peeling off that big old lint trap, rolling it into a ball, peeling off that big old lint trap. It's just like throwing it in the trash, really. Should I be saving this?
No.
You could knit it into a scarf or something?
No.
Surely. It's very soft.
No.
This would make really good fire starter. You are a weird prepper. Hoarder. Like a weird guy, man. Weird prepper. Not normal, like a weird guy, man. Clearing out that lint trap.
No.
Clearing out that lint trap. Clearing out that lint trap. That lint trap. I know it's gross, folks.
A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
You gotta clean this out. It's like a lint catcher. It's a great reset. A lint catcher.
I love it, man.
You gotta clean this out. A lint catcher.
I love that. I am constantly having to remind myself, wear a pink shirt for the show. Constantly having to remind myself, save the dryer lint, use it as fire starter, knit a scarf, save the dryer lint.
When the news of the day gets to feeling like a maze, it's okay, don't be afraid if you don't know what to say. Canary, cry away. When your brain's in a haze and a headline days, come on, ahead my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry away. Canary, cry away. Oh, canary, cry away. Oh, the world's changing every day, each and every way you turn, there's another thing to learn. Reading in between the lines, thanking Jesus for our lives, and nice to see His glory shining like the sun. Run the race until it's done. Come on, everyone. Canary, cry away. Oh, canary, cry away. When your brain's in a haze and the headline days, come on, I have my way, I can help you out the cage. Canary, cry away.
His
goodbye, everybody, and that's the end. And everyone says, oh, that was fun.
Bye-bye, bye-bye.
I'm out of here. Bye.
CanaryCrimeRadio.com/support.